Welcome back to another episode of Another Pokemon Podcast. My name is Becs.
And my name is Galutrad.
And today we're going to be talking about evolution.
Did you just make that up, or is that like referencing a song?
I think I just made it up.
Oh, okay.
And if I didn't, I'm sorry to whoever I just stole your stuff.
Copyright.
Copyright.
This episode will get copyright claimed for your singing.
Specifically, the only evolution we're going to talking about is EV to Espeon.
No,
we're going to make an hour-long episode.
We're talking about all the different ways that Pokemon evolve in the game. And there's a lot of them.
It's an ever-evolving list.
That was clean.
Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah. Anyways, so we are going to talk about evolution, all the different ways that can evolve. We're going to talk about some of the Pokemon. Well, most of the Pokemon that evolve in the more unique ways. And I think it's going to be a really fun episode.
Fun, informative, and
I think we're really going to level up during this episode.
Which is a way that Pokemon evolve.
Yeah, spoilers. Hello, we're not there yet.
Sorry, my bad.
But before we do talk about that, Galutrad, how you been?
I've been good. Yeah, no, I'm doing good. I have plans to announce... I guess this is my announcement for the podcast, but I have plans to announce that I'm going to be no longer streaming on Twitch anymore, just because it's something I've been thinking about, as you know, for a long time, and it's something that I'm moving my life towards, and I'm excited about that and about getting more time back on my schedule to do other things like this podcast, like editing for the podcast and creating content for it, and also just things that I want to do in real life. I've been getting into board games a lot again. And watching shows with you.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, currently taking you on a journey.
Yeah. We're watching Sister Wives and Walking Dead,
yes.
which those two are completely...
they're the same. Yeah, they're spin-off of one another. Yeah, quite.
Yeah, but how about you? How are you doing?
No, I'm doing good. Been watching some TV, been reading the new Hunger Games book, which I'm very excited about, and I will probably finish it before this podcast airs because it's so good. Been playing a couple video games here and there. We did play through Until Dawn.
We did.
It did spook me real bad.
Mm-hmm.
I just started a game on my PlayStation called Lost Records Bloom and Rage.
Oh, yeah. I saw that you downloaded that. How is that like?
It seems very similar so far to like Life is Strange.
Okay.
One of those where there's definitely a heavy story mode and the choices you make will determine things later on.
Yeah.
And it seems like it's got a creepy element to it, or at least like a mystery thriller type element to it. So I'm excited for that. But I haven't really played a ton of it because I've been traveling a lot for my family recently. But yeah, hopefully can play some more of that maybe this weekend. And I've been playing some Stardew Valley here and there.
Yeah, I've been playing a lot of Stardew Valley as well.
It's been good though. It's been a good solid few weeks.
Yeah, it really has.
Yeah,
it's been good.
Well, great. And you know what the most good part about everything?
The last few weeks, yeah, we have got a ton of love on a lot of our episodes. There was a call out previously about reviews for Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and y'all came out both sides definitely. And then also just we've been getting a lot of new followers on our socials and making new friends of the show, and it's been
seeing
great.
Some cute pictures
Seeing some
from
very
friends.
cute pictures from friends. Yeah.
Love that. That transition was not very good, but that is good. The love that we've been receiving is good. So let's hear some of it. Let's hear some listener feedback over on Spotify on our You Better Bay Leaf It episode, our grass Pokemon episode. We got a comment from Jason, who said, my favorites are Rillaboom, Ivysaur, Decidueye, Torterra, and Leafeon.
All
solid choices. Yes.
Jason. Shout out to Torterra because chat, my previous life, I guess, as a Twitch streamer, and Torterra will always be named chat now for me. And then Rillaboom's great. Ivysaur, a classic. Leafeon is a little bit of a... That's like the oddball out, I feel, because like I feel like Leafeon and Glaceon both get like kind of the short end of the stick when it comes to evolution. So I love that you've got some love out there for Leafeon, Jason.
Well, there's
awesome.
There's a lot of starter love there.
There is a lot of starter love there. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Sure. Yeah. Decidueye. Yeah. and then Leafeon. So extra shout out for Leafeon for making it past all the other ones.
Yeah. No, Ivysaur is a great choice. I actually, when I was looking into like research for this episode, I was like, you know what has occurred to me, like truly, that there's not been a single starter Pokemon that doesn't follow that pattern of you got your baby Pokemon, then you evolve in the teens to your mid Pokemon, then you evolve in the 30s to your final evolution form. Like they've all followed that same pattern. So we expect that. So if they ever change that up, I think it's going to throw off a lot of people. That's
true. If I enter the 20s with a starter and they haven't evolved yet, I would be a little like,
what's happening?
What is going on?
Yeah, absolutely.
Which might be a fun thing to do.
It might be, yeah.
I don't know.
I would prefer they stop changing everything, but you know what? If you think that's fun, good for you.
Yeah.
Over on Instagram, on our, I'm assuming a post about our Psyched Up episode.
Yeah.
We got a comment from Leorbeck 1992, which I think they have commented before a couple times, right?
Yeah, Leorbeck has commented from Israel.
Oh, yes. Okay. But yeah, like that was fun when we first learned that was because we are like, oh my gosh, people from all around the world.
I think that was our first global. I think Leorbeck was our first global comment.
We have a couple people. We had a couple people from Germany and the UK comment as well.
Yeah.
But it's still super exciting.
Yeah.
But Leorbeck said, loved this episode. As a late 90s kid, obsessed with Jolteon, the best evolution, I had to mention he learns Pin Missile, the only bug-type move, so ironic. I know it's a lame attack, but it was my way to handle Gary's Alakazam. And then he said, happy birthday with sunglasses face. So that must have been around your
my
birthday.
Yeah. Which your birthday's coming up as well. So it kind of works for both of us.
It is.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Well, thank you, Leorbeck. Yeah, I think in that episode, I think we had talked about...
That's how psychic Pokemon were tough during Gen 1.
Yeah.
Really. Like, they dominated the scene.
And I think I had specifically said that there weren't bug-type attack moves, but there was Pin Missile for Jolteon. But it wasn't on a bug-type Pokemon, so it didn't get the stab bonus.
Yeah.
So it worked, but it wasn't as strong as it could be.
Right.
But yeah, no, thank you. We always love hearing from you, and we're glad you enjoyed that episode. Jolteon is up there, I think, as far for me as evolutions go. Not my favorite evolution, but is definitely up there. So yeah, thank you.
Do you want to read?
We've
got a couple 5-star Apple podcast reviews. Do you want to read those?
I definitely can. So like Beck said, we have a couple of 5-star Apple podcast reviews. The first one is from a user named Foxy Game, and the title of their review says, I love it.
Oh, yay.
Foxy Game says, it's so good to listen to when I am calming down for the night because I play a lot of Pokemon and I learn a lot about it.
Oh, cute.
Yeah.
I love that. Oh my gosh. Thank you for saying we're calming.
I feel like sometimes we can be, but then other times we burst out laughing or yelling at each other. And
I guess if you're listening, I know a lot of people that do listen to podcasts, some of which are like really, I know for a fact that the hosts are really chaotic and really, so maybe there's just something calming about listening to a subject that you enjoy.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe that's the case. But hopefully we've never woken you up on accident by screaming.
Yeah. But no, I love that. I love that. And I also like when I'm playing something or really into something, I also love to just keep learning and absorbing new info about it.
Yeah, same. I love that we're able to be informative. We do try but we are just a fan podcast. We definitely don't claim to be experts on any subject that we talk to, but we do.
I feel like I'm a bit of an expert at this point.
I definitely feel like I've learned a lot doing this podcast than I did originally about Pokemon as far as knowledge goes, but we get stuff wrong from time to time, so hopefully we don't lead you down a bad path, but glad to hear we're good for you.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And then our final listener feedback, another Apple Podcast review. This is from Gamer Kid 918.
Oh boy. Okay.
And the title of this review is Apple Pod Listeners ...
Oh.
Please read on pod. Well, there you go. I am. Apple Pod Listeners Assemble in all caps. We need to overtake the Spotify listeners in 5-star reviews. Take this review and copy paste it as many times as needed to win this war. We shall claim victory.
Oh my God.
So number 1, Gamer Kid 918, love your energy. Yes, I thank you so much. We actually, as I mentioned, I think previously, that might have been before the episode, is we've seen an influx of reviews for both Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And I can say y'all are both at the same number again, which is 37. But I wanted to correct something that I said on the previous episode, which was that I think that Apple Podcasts, you're able to leave multiple reviews. And you technically are, and this might even be the same for Spotify, but the review is tied to your username. And so even if you change your review, what that looks like for us on the back end is we see a new comment with your current review.
Oh, I see.
So technically you can, but it doesn't actually up the numbers. But if that's how you get a hold of us and leave comments for us, then great. We want to hear them.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, it's appreciated all the same. Keep up the good fight. Y'all are both doing great. 37 each, and it's wonderful. That's a +4 for each of y'all for each side. So great job.
I love that.
And we love hearing from you.
I do think it's funny that those are the two top even numbered sources, and we both listen to one or the other.
We're very much one side or the other.
I listen solely to Spotify for music, and I've started listening to them for podcasts too, just because I noticed that if I go back to a podcast and it's halfway through, sometimes it won't play on podcasts. Mm-hmm. If you listen to it all the way through, you're fine. Yeah. But I don't know if that's a glitch on my phone or not. But Spotify, old trusty, old reliable, just not for audiobooks.
Yeah. But thank you so much.
I love that.
Yeah,
I think it's really fun.
Like I said, love your energy. Keep it up. It's amazing. And thank you to everybody.
No, yeah, we once again we love the group effort to leave the reviews. We love any 5-star reviews, honestly, even if they're not part of the Avengers mentality. We still love reading them. We love reading comments. We love like I mentioned earlier, we just saw a really cute picture that we'll probably talk about in a later listener feedback from a user on our X account. Was on for Pokemon Day,
yes,
I think.
Yeah.
Any interaction that you feel compelled to share with us, we love, and you can do that truly anywhere you can hear the sound of my voice right now. So anywhere you can listen to your podcast, you can leave reviews. 5-star reviews really help out our channel. Anywhere you want to leave feedback on social media, we're all over the internet at Another PKMN Pod. That's P. I haven't done this in a while.
You haven't.
That's P as in Pichu, K as in Kangaskhan, M as in Mareep, and N as in Nidorino.
Yeah.
We're on Instagram. We're on Blue Sky. We're on X. We're all over the place. So anywhere you want to leave us feedback, we would love to read it.
Yeah.
So thank you for that. Now, Galutrad, I have some news.
Okay.
I don't have a podcast stone with me, but we have to evolve. So we have to figure out how to move on.
Well, maybe we'll just level up.
We could do that. There's lots of ways to evolve.
There is lots of ways.
I don't know if you knew that, but there are lots of ways to evolve. So what we would like to do is share with our listeners those different ways to evolve. Talk about the Pokemon that use those ways, and really chat through if there's any changes that have happened and that kind of thing, and really dive into all things evolution.
All things evolutionary.
So we're super excited about this episode. This was a really fun one that I came up with.
You
actually
did.
And
you put most of the notes together. Yeah, this is a little bit of an evolution revolution.
It's payback because you did most of the Pokeball research. So
That's
I did most of the evolution research. But obviously, first thing, let's just get it out of the way real quick.
Yes.
The most common way to evolve a Pokemon is just by leveling it up through battle.
Yep. Or rare candies.
Or rare candies.
Or just candies in general.
Yeah, because there's lots of candies now.
Leveling up, though.
Leveling up.
Straight leveling up. No other conditions apply.
A billion, not a billion. There's not a billion Pokemon yet. Literally hundreds of Pokemon. That is the most common way to evolve them, is by leveling them up like we just talked about in our listener feedback, like all of the starter Pokemon evolve that way. It's the most common way to evolve. It's also
it's like it's the easiest to wrap your head around as a new player. As my Pokemon get stronger, they will change and evolve and get stronger.
Yeah. And I love that. I think it always surprises me, I guess, when there are Pokemon that don't evolve and leveling up, and because I'll be really grinding through leveling them up, fighting wild Pokemon everywhere, like rare candies, all of it. I'm like, why isn't this Pokemon evolving yet? Because I'm trying to complete my Pokedex entry or something. And I'll look and it'll be like, no, this Pokemon needs a special thing to evolve. And it's like, well, dang it. I was like, I wonder why we got to 30 and nothing happened. So yeah, that's the most common way to evolve.
That is definitely a side effect of playing the game without having the knowledge of how it levels up. Is you start to hit a point, because the Pokedex does do a good job of, like, if you catch a Pokemon and it levels up, and then you catch the next Pokemon in the Pokedex that's a different species, you can kind of tell, right, that, oh, this one's number 99, this one's number 101.
Right.
What's number 100? It must be a level up. Or in some cases, it might be a different singular Pokemon.
Or if you see it in the wild, or you see it with like another trainer, like it'll gray it out, but it'll be there.
But it'll tell you the info.
And if they look similar, you might think, okay, well, I need to evolve this somehow.
And so naturally you get to that point, like you were saying with the starters, of like, wow, this Pokemon's level 40. Why hasn't it evolved? And you just kind of start wondering, like, is it because there are some level up evolutions where it does truly just take a long time to evolve, level wise, and that's for balancing purposes and things like that. But so it starts to make you question, though, what other methods are out there.
Yep, for sure. So kind of layering in for the next ways, sometimes it's still leveling up. That's still like what you have to do, but sometimes it depends on other factors. And one of those factors that was introduced in Generation 4 is leveling up, but with the Pokemon being a certain gender. So examples of Pokemon that do that are Burmy evolves into 2 different types of Pokemon with different forms, which we can talk about in a second. But Burmy evolves into either Mothim or Wormadam. Combee evolves into Vespiquen. Esper evolves into Meowstic, different forms. Salandit evolves into Salazzle. Lechonk evolves into Oinkologne. And Basculin evolves into Basculegion.
A lot of those evolve into different forms, which it's kind of interesting because you have Nidoran in the base game, which technically is a different Pokemon from Nidoran male versus female, because the name of the Pokemon is Nidoran female sign or Nidoran male sign.
Right.
But these are instances where the design of the Pokemon in its final evolution form, or whatever form where it splits evolution based off of male or female, is different, but they do still have the same name.
Yeah, they start like so Nidoran and Nidoran, boy and girl, and then Nidorina and Nidorino are like they are the same Pokemon. Like Nidoran is technically, they're both the same species, but in that game they didn't focus on that, and they made them basically 2 different lines of Pokemon.
Yeah.
But these are ones where they are pretty much the same looking as far as like the original Pokemon, but once they evolve, they're different forms depending on what the gender is.
Yeah.
Like male and female Espers don't look different from one another.
No, yes, but then Meowstic does.
Right, exactly. So I don't know I'm going to be honest with you, I don't know a ton about Burmy.
Yeah, so Burmy is a really interesting Pokemon, especially in Gen 4. I believe, I could be wrong, but I believe that the only way that you could get Burmy was through putting honey on a tree.
Okay.
And that I might be confusing that with Munchlax from Generation 4, which you could also technically get Munchlax through breeding an egg, but we won't get into that. But so Burmy is interesting because it truly does split evolution based off of if it's a male or a female. And unlike some of these where like like Combi and Salandit just won't evolve if they're the male versions.
Right.
But they will evolve if they're female. Burmy has a split evolution where it becomes Mothim if it's a male, and then it becomes a different version of Wormadam based off of where you level it up to 20 or
so
21.
It almost, we'll talk about like how different areas can impact evolution too, of course, but like it's almost like it kind of crosses into both, where like if you have a female Burmy, it's going to evolve into a Wormadam, but it just, depending on wherever it does evolve, is what form it takes.
And I really love that mechanic of the different forms based off of where you are, because the idea there is that Burmy is the bagworm Pokemon, and it like gathers up the material around it to make itself a bigger shell.
The trash form cracks me up. It's got like a pink coat.
Yeah, I don't understand why it's pink. Like I feel like it should have been like gray.
I feel like it like got like a scrap of something out of the trash. I was like, this is what I want. But it kind of cracks me up, because I was like, are you calling that Wormadam trashy? Like, why are you calling them that? Bit.
There's the plant cloak, which is obviously full of leafage and things like that. The sandy cloak, which has like rocks and sand pebbles and things. Yeah. And then the trash cloak, which really does. It looks like Burmy took like a pink feather boa out and wrapped itself up in it, and then
now that we've met her on the show, we mentioned we were watching The Walking Dead. We just met the character Princess, and Princess. Actually, I think I said if she was a Pokemon trainer, her Pokemon. What did I said? Her Pokemon would be something. But really, whatever I said is wrong, because I said it would be Tinkaton.
Oh yes, you said if Tinkaton was a human, it would be Princess.
But maybe I'm not wrong. But she also would clearly have the trash version of Wormadam. Yeah, absolutely. They have the same coat.
Yeah, they do. And then all the others, Esper, Salandit, Lechonk, and Basculin evolves into Basculegion. Lechonk evolves into Oinkologne, Salandit. Or no, I'm sorry, not Salandit or Combi, but Esper evolves into Meowstic, and they all
have different forms,
just different forms.
On the gender. Yeah, Basculegion is probably the one that looks the most similar, because Basculegion's just red or white, depending on what you evolve into. But like Meowstic, we just talked about that on our Psych Up episode. It's drastically different personalities and everything. And then Oinkologne, I don't know anything about their personality, but they look different.
They're very so the male is very like show offy and like fabulous, and the female is honestly just a pig.
Yeah, just a piggy.
just a piggy. But shout out to the shiny hunters who hunt Combi or Salandit, only to then get disappointed to find a shiny male version where it's just stuck as those Pokemon.
Right.
So that's an extra little wrench in the cogs of shiny hunting that you get thrown.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So in addition to leveling up as like a certain gender, we also in Gen 2, so before that, we were introduced to daytime, nighttime, and the differences in evolution during those time periods. So we have Pokemon that will only evolve if you are leveling them up during the day. And we have Pokemon that will only evolve if you are leveling them up during the night.
Yes.
And then in Gen 7, we even got a third, for just one Pokemon, we got a third piece, which is Dusk.
Yes.
There's a Dusk
a very
form.
Specific time frame.
Right. And we can start with that one. That Pokemon is Rockruff.
Yeah, and it's specifically Rockruff evolves into Lycanroc Dusk form version if it is the Dusk time frame, but then also specifically for Dusk form, it has to have Rockruff's hidden ability in order to even have a chance to become the Dusk form Rockruff.
It has to have the own tempo ability.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So Dusk is in game between 5 and 5:59 p.m.
You have 1 hour.
So it's
59 minutes actually.
Not even an hour.
Yeah.
Because it's in game. Right?
Oh, well, yeah, depending on the game, yeah.
Oh, Sun and Moon follow the actual time,
yes,
don't they?
Do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So between 5 p.m. and 5:59 p.m., which is when the sun is starting to set, is when you can evolve your Rockruff into Lycanroc Dusk form.
Yeah.
But Lycanroc can also evolve into Midnight form and Midday form. Midnight form is at night. Midday form is during the day.
Mm-hmm.
That's certainly the only Pokemon that evolves into all three of the different forms.
Yes.
These are Pokemon that can evolve during the day and at night without like any special stats or anything. There's a couple that have to have certain hold items.
Yes. Yeah.
Sneasel, whether it's Hisuian or not, or regular
Sneasel.
Sneasel has to be holding a Razor Claw, and Gligar has to be holding a Razor Fang. But Hisuian Sneasel evolves during the day into Hisuian Weavile.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got Tyrant evolves into Tyrantrum, Yungoos evolves into Gumshoes, and Fermantis evolves into Lurantis. Those are all daytime Pokemon.
Yep.
At night, we've got, in addition to what we've already mentioned, we've got Alolan Rattata evolves into Alolan Raticate. Galarian Lanoon evolves into Obstagoon. Cubone will evolve into the Alolan version of Marowak.
But only in an Alola-like region.
Yeah. If it's an Alolan Pokemon, it is just in Alola or a climate-controlled...
Yeah, like in the Blueberry Academy. Yeah.
In a climate-controlled tropical paradise. Amora evolves into Aurorus, and Greavard evolves into Houndstone. As well.
Which makes a lot of sense for Greavard and Houndstone because they're, ghost dog Pokemon. Yeah. I really love... We can talk about Alolan Marowak and regular Cubone. I love the fact that they did what they did with the Blueberry Academy, where they're like, we are referencing a bunch of different locations and we've simulated them all here, because that allows them, if they continue that kind of like story theme, it allows them to bring back some area specific evolutions, which we'll talk about later.
Yeah.
But it's just because otherwise you are really looped in whenever you're designing a map to like, oh, well, you have to have the paradise area. You have to have the volcano area, like, kind of similar to Mario, I guess, in that sense. But like, one of my favorite stories that you've ever told on the podcast is about how you were playing with Eevee and it started to evolve in Silver, and it started to evolve. And you were like, I didn't give it a stone. What is this? And then it became Espeon and the love of your life.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of that.
Yes.
There's a third layer.
There is a third layer for night and day.
For night and day. And we can talk about this layer in general, too, because it really does start to take off also in Gen 2. This is an important factor.
Yep.
But then we add in the layer of friendship.
Uh-huh.
So the friendship stat. So friendship is, in the Pokemon games, is how well liked you are to your Pokemon, which is like dependent on like taking care of it, giving it rare candies, making sure it doesn't faint in battle.
Yeah.
All of those things.
Walking around with it. Increases friendship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Making it first in your party, I think, helps too. Yep.
The Soothe Bell item.
The Soothe Bell item does, yeah.
Yep. And there's some Pokeballs, which we talked about in the last episode.
Exactly.
Increase high friendship.
Like the friendship ball and that kind of thing. So that some Pokemon will not evolve until they are close to you, which I think is kind of cute.
It is. You gotta have a relationship with your Pokemon. Right.
And there are some obvious ones that are also, they won't evolve unless it's a certain time of day and they love you.
Yes.
Which is obviously Eevee is a big one for that. So Eevee will only evolve when you have a high friendship during the day into Espeon, and it will evolve into Umbreon only if you have a high friendship at nighttime. Other Pokemon that have to have a high friendship and evolve during the day are Budew, which evolves into Roselia, and Riolu, which evolves into Lucario.
Which is, I kind of get Budew into Roselia because it's like it's a flower that's blooming during the day.
Yeah.
Riolu into Lucario is one that I'm not.
It's an odd
I don't
one.
Fully understand why it has to be the daytime.
I don't either.
In fact, I would think the opposite if I was just looking at them.
Like it would need to be nighttime. Yeah. I don't either. Or it could be like a dusk situation, another dusk one. I don't either. I also thought that. I thought, Budew makes sense. And then I read the other one. I was like, oh, okay. Oh, I'm still going to put it, but that is weird. And then nighttime, another odd one for you. In addition to Umbreon, you've got Chingling evolving into Chimecho, which I think makes sense because it's kind of ghosty. But then Snom only evolves into Frostmoth at night.
maybe the idea there is this is going to be a weird take because we have like Butterfree and Beedrill who literally evolve all of the starter area bug Pokemon Wurmple that have like that cocoon evolution. Snom does not have a cocoon evolution or a cocoon form in its evolution line, but maybe the idea there is that often when you think about bugs in real life, like a caterpillar getting a cocoon and then becoming a butterfly, usually, not always obviously, but usually, think about like kindergartners. They have pet caterpillars in the class, and then they go home and they go to sleep, and then they come back, and then it's a butterfly one day. And so it's
we did that in first grade. Yeah,
it happens at night. They think even if that's not necessarily the case, that might be the idea there.
I can see it. It's also a moth, so maybe that's why, because moths are more prone to night, and they're just drawn to like light fixtures.
Yeah,
I don't know, but I thought it was interesting. And there are obviously tons of Pokemon that just evolve with a high friendship, like no matter what time of day. So like all of the cute pink ones that you can think of, like Cleffa and Igglybuff and Chansey, those all evolve with a high friendship.
I'm noticing while you're going through the list, a lot of the baby Pokemon.
A lot of the baby ones do. It's almost like, okay, I am going to be really cool one day, but I need to trust you first. Yeah. Like Togepi. Togepi is a great one. Azurill, Woobat. The one I did find interesting that I wasn't anticipating, if I'm being honest, was a Alolan Meowth evolves into a Alolan Persian with high friendship, which I thought was interesting. And then the type Null evolving into Silvally, I thought was interesting just because I've never had that Pokemon in my party.
So type Null might be similar to Golbat into Crobat in Gen 2 and how it's used as like sort of a hidden story mechanic where your rival, we've talked about it before, is doesn't like Pokemon, just wants them for their power, and then suddenly has a Crobat, and so you're like, oh, I see, you're being nice to your Pokemon is your friend now. I feel like type Null into Silvally is the same thing, because the character who has type Null in the story for Sun and Moon is Gladion, who is like this really emo, I hate everything in the world and it's all so sad and depressing. It now suddenly can evolve its Pokemon into a Silvally, and so it might be for story reasons. Okay.
By the way, I have a huge soft spot for Crobat.
Yeah.
I always, if I play through a Gen 2 game, a remake or whatever, I always have a Crobat on my team. I just love it. But you're right, it is a lot of either baby Pokemon, like where they're like the first one of 3, or like just smaller fluffy ones, like Baneri is on here.
Yeah,
Munchlax.
I think Golbat is the only one that is Swadloon as well is a second evolution into the third evolution. Yeah. So it's very interesting. I mean, and that makes sense as well. It's like baby Pokemon. They rely on nurture. They rely on care.
Yep. And then just adding in just a slight differentiation for one last Pokemon that needs high friendship or affection, because affection was a big thing in the X and Y games. It needs a 2-star affection or a high friendship, and it also has to know a fairy type move, which is the important twist here.
Yes.
Because sometimes you try to get an Espeon and you accidentally know Baby Eyes and you get a Sylveon in your X game. I don't know who that could be. Someone must have done it though. Eevee, its other evolution with high friendship is Sylveon.
Yes. Yeah. The fairy type move being the huge difference there.
Exactly. So I had to unlearn Baby Eyes to get my Espeon. It's fine. I needed a Sylveon anyway. Not that it was me. But that's like I really like, maybe I'm a sucker because it's all computer generated Pokemon, but I really have always liked the high friendship idea.
There is something kind of cool about knowing that you put in the time, because it's not like, no, I totally get what you're saying, because all the other level up Pokemon that don't have the high friendship or some other requirement, you can just get a brand new Pokemon and give it rare candies, and then it becomes the full evolution line. And so there's something kind of nice. Also a little bit, in some ways, kind of annoying, depending on if you're like really just trying to get this Pokemon quickly.
Yeah. I want them to love me.
Yeah.
Because I love them.
But Pokemon has had a lot of great mechanics for gaining friendship. There's I think the X and Y games have you can take your Pokemon to get a massage.
Well, you can do that in the Gen 2, or it's a haircut. You can get them haircuts. Yeah. There's all kinds of things that you can do. And sometimes, I am not paying that much attention to that Pokemon, and then they evolve anyway. And I'm like, are we friends? Yeah,
just because you've been walking around with them in your party and you haven't let them get knocked out.
You can groom them in later games, like make sure their dust is gone and give them a little blow dry, a little wash.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's fun.
It is cool.
So moving on to the next way, kind of. This is kind of a weird one, but I wanted to make sure I added it. Sometimes you get to evolve a Pokemon based on what game you picked at the store.
Yeah. One time. I guess 2 times.
Two times. One time if you have both games 2 times.
Yeah.
And that Pokemon is Cosmoem in the Sun and Moon and Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon games. If you have Sun or Ultra Sun, Cosmoem will evolve into a Solgaleo. And if you have Moon or Ultra Moon, Cosmoem will evolve into Lunala, which are the legendaries that are on the box art of the games that you picked.
Yeah. Usually it kind of that follows suit with when they switch to legendaries, that you are getting the legendary on the box art. But it is the first time and the only time that legendary has had to evolve in order to hit that status. And it is a story-based thing in the games. Like, you can't not get Solgaleo or Lunala, but it's just an interesting mechanic in that, because in later games when you do have a Cosmog to evolve into a Cosmoem, I'm actually not even 100% sure how that would work. I guess you don't get Cosmog or Cosmo. I'm thinking about it now. You would have to transfer one over before it became, and I don't think you can get... I don't know. That's a really good question. Can you get Cosmog and Cosmoem outside of Sun and Moon and Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon? And if so, do you get them into your party? We really need to play Sun and Moon all the way through.
Okay.
I just went on a whole... My brain is going at a 1,000 miles per hour.
I don't know either, so I guess we'll find out when we play.
Because the only thing that I can think of right now is that you can just get Solgaleo or Lunala through, events. But then how do you get Cosmog and Cosmoem? Interesting. Okay, well, cool. There you go.
So the last method I want to talk about or introduce before we go to break, and it is a doozy. It's a long one.
It's a big one.
Because there are lots of them. Is in Gen 1, they introduced 5 elemental stones to help you evolve your...
I think 5. Leaf, fire, water, thunder. Moon.
Yeah.
5. 5 stones introduced in Generation 1.
In Generation 1, they've since added more stones, and definitely more Pokemon that evolve with the existing stones, but that is definitely a way to evolve your Pokemon, and that is a way where you basically choose when to evolve your Pokemon. Yeah, and it's also a really good mechanic thinking about other methods that we'll talk about after the break, because like I kind of mentioned earlier, is if they have an area or something, some game specific mechanic where a Pokemon would evolve and it's only found in that game, they typically use stones or sometimes items to replace that method. So that's why there's such a huge list of stone Pokemon as well. Right. Yeah. Some of the stones are definitely more used than others.
Yeah.
There's a few on here that I was like, well, why did you even make this a thing? But anyway, so we'll just start off. I kind of put them in alphabetical order because I figured that would be the easiest way to tackle it. But we'll start off with the Dawn Stone. So I think the Dawn Stone must have been introduced in Gen 4. There's literally only 2 Pokemon that use it. There's Kirlia. When it is a male Kirlia, it evolves into Gallade with a Dawn Stone. Oh, I just realized these are both gender specific. And Snorunt, when it is a female Snorunt. We've talked about this Pokemon on our ice episode, it can use a Dawnstone and evolve into a Frostlass. So yeah, it seems kind of odd that we needed a stone to evolve.
Yeah, I don't fully understand that, especially because they're already gender specific.
Yeah, well, I guess because they weren't before. So, like, well, I can't speak for Snorunt. I think Snorunt is new to Gen 4, but Kirlia specifically always evolved, no matter what gender, into Gardevoir before.
Yes, so that's why.
So now they needed a way to evolve the males into Gallade. So I guess if you have a male Kirlia and you just evolve it where it evolves, and it can evolve into either one.
A male Kirlia could evolve into either one, and then if you give it the Dawnstone, it becomes a Gallade. And maybe the thought process there is that Gallade is clearly very much a knight.
Yeah.
Gardevoir is the terminology for Gardevoir's name comes from both knight and then something else that I can't remember.
Yeah, I mentioned it in one of the episodes. Yeah.
So maybe the idea there is like the symbol for like Knights Templar is a sun.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
So
I don't know about Frostlass though.
I don't know about Frostlass either. That's a weird one.
Another thing for the Dawnstone, I guess. But that's the Dawnstone one, so it's pretty simple. The Duskstone, opposite of the Dawnstone, the Duskstone evolves 4 different Pokemon. It can evolve Murkrow into Honchkrow, Misdreavus into Mismagius, Lampent into Chandelure, and Doublade into Aegislash.
Also,
Aegislash?
Aegislash,
yeah.
I think, however.
Tomato.
Yeah. Shout out to Eevee for probably being the most confusing Pokemon ever, because you would think if you learn that Eevee evolves into the next few that we're going to talk about based off of stones, that the Dawnstone would be for Espeon and the Duskstone would be for Umbreon.
It's not.
It's not, though.
No. Daytime,
it's very
nighttime.
strange.
Yep. So that's the Duskstone, all very kind of ghosty, spooky-ish type Pokemon, which I thought was cool. Kicking it old school, the Firestone, one of the OG stones, evolves lots of different fire Pokemon into their evolutions, of which are Vulpix to Ninetales, both Growlithe and Hisuian, Growlithe into Arcanine, Hisuian Arcanine. Eevee evolves into Flareon. We got another evolution there. Pansear evolves into Simisear, and Capsakid, your favorite, evolves into Scovillain.
Capsakid makes a lot of sense here because...
Or Scovillain.
Scovillain. Capsakid makes a lot of sense because it is a grass-type Pokemon that you need to add fire to it.
Yeah.
And the only other way that I could think might work for that is leveling it in like a volcano area, but then you get into the whole area situation, and it just makes more sense to give it a stone. I just
realized that Scovillain is a Scoville scale. You're welcome. Happy to help. Yeah, I mean those all make sense.
Yes,
right?
Yeah, they do.
The only thing that I find irritating is Pansear needing a stone to evolve because you get it so early in the Black and White games.
I can tell you why I think that is.
Why?
Because Black and White, they started out the games with no Pokemon from the previous generations. You have to go through the entire game in order to unlock previous generation Pokemon, and with that, Eevee was the poster child for stone evolution in Generation 1, because even if you manage to catch other Pokemon that evolved via stone in Generation 1, where do you get Eevee? In the same town that you get the stones, and the person who gives you Eevee even mentions, or somebody in that area mentions, that Eevee can evolve into different Pokemon based off of what stone. So in Generation 5, when they got rid of Eevee because they aren't allowing any Pokemon, they needed a good example to show the stone evolution method. And what better way to do that than also utilizing the Pokemon that the first gym leader, which is the trio of chefs that challenge you based off of what starter you picked, and also using a stone, because it's the 3 main types.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I see that. I think it's just it's more frustrating to me because by the time you get Eevee
yes,
in red and blue, you are at the place you can get a stone.
Yeah, that's true.
And you get. I mean, I haven't finished Black, but I don't think I've even gotten halfway through it. But you can get Pansear super early, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, all of the Pan Pokemon, and there is very much a.
Is there a shortage of elemental?
There's
stones?
a shortage of elemental stones, and there's a time difference, a vast time difference between when you get certain elemental stones. So it can affect your experience with them.
That's true.
Yeah.
Kicking it right along to Ice Stone. Ice Stone helps evolve a couple of Alolan Pokemon. Alolan Sandshrew into Alolan Sandslash, Alolan Vulpix into Alolan Ninetales. It evolves Eevee into Glaceon. You've got your next evolution here. Galarian Darumaka evolves into Galarian Darmanitan. Citotl. I hate that name.
Citotl.
I struggle with it every time. Citotl evolves into Cititan.
Yeah.
And Crab Brawler evolves into Crabominable. It can evolve into it with an Ice Stone.
Yes. Crabrawler and Eevee into Glaceon both also have other evolution methods, but those are the two that evolve with the Ice Stone. Outside of the other ones that also evolve with Ice Stone, and then up next we have the Leaf Stone, which evolves Gloom into Vileplume, Weepin' Bell into Victory Bell. Shout out Victory Bell gang. Hisuian Voltorb into Hisuian Electrode, Execute into Executor, Eevee into Leafeon, which is another example of a split type of evolution method depending on what game you have, Nuzleaf into Shifttree, Execute into Alolan Executor if you use a Leaf Stone while you are in Alola or a Tropical Paradise type of area, and then Pansage into Simisage, which is again those Pansear, Pansage, and then Panpour coming up later. Pokemon.
I was a little bit surprised to learn that Hisui and Voltorb evolved via Leaf Stone.
Yeah, which is interesting because Hisui and Voltorb is electric and grass type, and it's extra interesting because Hisui or regular Voltorb doesn't evolve into Electrode via Thunderstone, I don't think.
No, I'm pretty sure it just levels up.
Yeah, so I'm not 100% sure why they did that because Hisui and Voltorb is grass and electric, not just electric, so you don't have to add grass to it. But I guess it's, it's an interesting mechanic. It's a choice that they made.
And I mean, it's still like more plant-based than the original one. So I guess that's fine. I also don't think I realized Execute evolves into Executor with Leaf Stone. That makes sense, of course. It's a tree.
Yeah.
But I guess I didn't realize I don't think I've ever had an Execute on my team.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think I've ever been drawn to it. So I was just shocked that like I didn't know that, even though it's one of the OG Pokemon. So you would think I would know that.
It's also one of those that, again, I'm not 100% sure why.
Yeah.
Which I guess you could say the same for Victory Bell and Gloom or Vileplume as well, but because Execute is a grass and psychic, so again, there's not this need to apply grass typing to it. But it's also weird thinking about that even more so now that Execute is grass and psychic because it's just a bunch of eggs,
right? Yeah.
So why isn't it just psychic?
I don't know.
Very strange.
One of my favorite stones, it's not necessarily my favorite Pokemon family, but like one of my favorite stones is the Moonstone. I've always thought that was really cool when I was a kid. I was like, oh, it's from space. That's neat. But there's a handful of Pokemon, mostly Gen 1 Pokemon. They haven't really added a ton of Moonstone Pokemon. That could be truly because regionally Mountain Moon is in Kanto.
That's true.
But
I bet that's exactly why.
But it's interesting that there's not a lot more. These tend to be normal Pokemon or like poison.
Now normal
psychic fairy
for a lot of them.
That kind of thing. But Nidorina and Nidorino both evolve with a Moonstone into respectively Nidoqueen and Nidoking. Clefairy evolves into Clefable. Jigglypuff evolves into Wigglytuff. Skitty evolves into Delcatty. And Munna evolves into Musharna. I really like that they added mostly like weird Pokemon to this, like the kind of alien type thing, I feel like. Skitty is a little weird. Skitty's like, here's a cat. I'm going to evolve it into another cat.
Well, and Skitty also, I think we've talked about this before personally, but Skitty has a strange design to me as far as cats go because its tail is a cat tail, like the toy. or the plant. And it kind of looks, like you said, alien almost. Like it almost looks like it's a cat that came from space that came to Earth.
Or no, I think Skitty's the odd one out.
Oh, really?
I think these other ones are like...
Oh, I think Skitty and Delcatty make really good sense.
Okay.
Delcatty maybe less so, but Skitty, I think. I've always thought Skitty looks a little kind of weird for a cat. Okay. Yeah.
I hope that they put out more
Moonstone evolutions. Yeah.
I think Moonstone's really cool. This actually, you were not with me when I made the spreadsheet, but this made me upset. And I'll tell you why.
Okay.
There is an item called the Oval Stone.
Yes.
It has one purpose.
Yes.
The purpose is to evolve Happiny into Chansey.
Yes.
Let's talk about how annoying that is.
Well, and I was going to defend it and tell you that the idea there is that Happiny needs to hold an egg in order to evolve into Chansey, but Happiny is holding an egg.
It's pointless.
Yeah.
All of the other pink round babies evolve with happiness and friendship.
Yeah.
Happiny, happy in the name, should evolve with friendship. It's so silly to me that it evolves an Oval Stone. And the fact that there's no other Pokemon that need that.
Yeah, well,
it's rough.
I'm going to piggyback off of that.
Okay.
You are correct. That is really weird and kind of annoying.
And Chansey even evolves with high friendship into Blissey. It's like that one skipped the baby evolution need for friendship.
I'm going to talk about the next two stones. We've got 4 more left with a little bit of a caveat around one of them. But I'm going to talk about the next two stones because speaking of the annoyingness of having an item that is literally just for one Pokemon and that only, why do we have the Dawn Stone, the Sun Stone, and the Shiny Stone?
They're different.
They're not different. They're all versions of light. It should just be called the Light Stone.
The Shiny Stone is bling. Those are jewelry girlies.
No, they're not. Togekiss is not a jewelry girly compared to Togetic.
Sunstone, that's going to be more of like our plant-based family that
might
need a little more love than a leaf.
Except Floette evolves into Florges.
Okay, just talk about it. You're clearly upset. I don't know why.
Shiny Stone evolutions include Togetic into Togekiss, Roselia into Roserade, Minccino into Cinccino, Floette into Florges.
I hate the name Cinccino.
I kind of do too. And then Sunstone evolves Gloom into Bellossom.
Yay.
Sunkern into Sunflora, Cottony into Whimsicott, Petalil into Lilligant, and Helioptile into Heliolisk.
Which also makes me annoyed.
Why?
Because Petalil makes sense, because I know it's a fossil Pokemon, it's a flower. Helioptile does not make any sense. It's a dinosaur.
Well, it's also an electric type too, so why isn't it a Thunderstone? Which is why they don't matter. The Sunstone, the Shiny Stone, and the Dawn Stone should all just be one stone.
Maybe it charges its electricity with the sun.
The only thing that I could think of is that Heliolisk has those like floppy ears, and then Helioptile has the whole like neck thing that opens up to make a sun.
Sun rays.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But other than that, it's whatever. Most of the Sunstone ones are grass type Pokemon. I get Gloom into Bellossom because you already used the Leaf Stone, but. No,
I think it's cute.
But you also already used the Leaf Stone for Vileplume, so you had to separate it separate.
Yeah.
Could have just been level based.
No, I don't want that.
It's just weird. It's just strange. It's a weird thing that there are 3 different stones that are all basically just light.
No, I guess I get it. They're very similar. When I was younger and not as much of a critic, I thought that it was really neat when they had the Shiny Stone and the Sunstone. I was like, oh my gosh. I could like see them in my head. Like one is a little sun and one is a little like diamond, like crystal-y thing. And I really enjoyed that.
Okay.
It's the power of friendship.
I disagree.
Also, Togekiss is the cutest, sweetest thing in the whole world. I don't know what in the world Togetic is supposed to be, and was really, really happy when Gen 4 introduced a third evolution, because that is what Togepi deserved. Togepi did not deserve to sprout some little wings.
Togepi deserved to become a jet engine plane.
Like my jet engine plane.
Yes.
I always named her
the natural
Dream.
course of evolution. Egg to jet engine plane.
She's cute and I love her. Anyways, back to kicking it old school a little bit. There's a little bit of a caveat here, but the Thunderstone evolves, I hope, only electric type Pokemon. I will be mad if that's not true. Pikachu to Raichu is probably the most well known, along with the evolution Eevee to Jolteon. But Pikachu will evolve into Alolan Raichu if it's in Alola. It's just like Cubone. It's Pikachu is a common Pokemon.
Yes, yeah.
But in Alola only, or in a climate-controlled
Paradise
tropical
region.
paradise, in a greenhouse.
With the Thunderstone, it'll evolve into an Alolan Raichu.
Which, aren't you glad for that you don't have to randomize and worry about that? You just know when you're going to get your boy or the worst one ever. Mm-hmm. I don't think that he does. But we also have Electric to Electros, Tadbulb to Bellybolt, and then at least in Generation 8 and forward, Magneton, Nosepass, and Charjabug will all evolve into Magnezone, Probopass, and Vikavolt, respectively. We're going to talk about areas. I don't want to spoil that section, but that's only Gen 8 and plus are those Thunderstone Pokemon. Which,
again, is why I hope that they take this kind of like, we can create synthetic environments to our needs, so that if they do need these areas in future games, they can just put it in a lab and let you, and not like mess with the design of the world that they're building. So shout out to Raichu. Also shout out to the change in Scarlet and Violet, and I think maybe in Sword and Shield, of being able to learn moves that your Pokemon would know if it's in the move pool at all, and turning moves into level up moves rather than into level specific learned by previous evolution moves, because I used to have to wait to evolve my Pikachu in order to get certain moves for Raichu that only Pikachu would learn, and then they introduced level up moves, and then they introduced the ability to relearn moves that you had already learned without the move learner, which was this whole annoying mechanic. And now I can just instantly turn a Pikachu into a Raichu.
I still wait until they learn it organically because I'm old school. But no, I mean, Thunderstone list is solid. The only stone I'm mad at so far is really the Oval Stone.
Sunstone, Shiny Stone, Oval Stone.
No, just the Oval Stone. Yeah.
Okay.
And then last but not least, we've got the Water Stone, which is also one of the originals. That, of course, is Eevee into Vaporeon. That's the last evolution in our list. But we've also got Poliwhirl into Poliwrath, Shellder into Cloyster, Staryu into Starmie, Lombre into Ludicolo, and Panpour into Semipour.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's interesting. I did at first find it odd that Lombre evolved into Ludicolo with a Water Stone, but then I realized that Nuzleaf evolves into Shiftry with a Leaf Stone.
Yeah, I think it was just to match
and that makes sense.
Pokemon.
And because Shroomish is just 2 Pokemon, right? Shroomish evolves into
Breloom,
and that's it.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I think that makes sense.
Yeah, they do. There is a little bit, especially in the Stone evolutions, but there is a little bit of like, oh, we did one, what we need to do, like, and it's usually game specific evolutions. Where they'll like kind of, if they do a style of evolution for one game's specific Pokemon, they'll do the opposite style or something similar to for the other one.
Right.
So it makes sense.
Yeah.
But they're all pretty good.
Yeah, and I like the idea of giving the Pokemon the stone and letting them evolve, like kind of that, like it's more okay, I am ready. I'd like them to evolve. Yeah.
The one thing that I will complain about for that is that you are very much limited to when you get the stone as well. So you might be ready to evolve it, but you don't get the stone. For instance, and maybe this was on purpose for Espeon and Umbreon, but fun fact, you don't get a Fire, Thunder, or Water Stone in Generation 2 to evolve your Eevee into one of them if you choose, until Kanto.
I mean, why would you want to do that? You have Umbreon and Espeon.
Well, maybe that's the whole point.
Yeah.
But they delay
it a lot. Unfazed. Take it up with Pokemon.
Okay.
Well, speaking of taking something, let's take a break.
Good segue.
I'm so good at this.
Okay.
I'm not, though. Okay. Go ahead and take a break, and we'll come back with some more ways to evolve. Ooh. Okay, we'll take a break.
Don't evolve while we're gone.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. Welcome back.
Did you evolve? I evolved.
I feel like I have become a new person
Yeah.
since that 5 minutes break that we just took. Yeah.
Yep.
Brand new me.
Brand new you.
New half the episode, new me.
Yep.
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 But anyways, sometimes in order to make us our best selves, we have to use an item. Some of us use makeup. Some of us use a new haircut. I'm being dumb.
I guess, that's kind of a way of evolving.
It is kind of a way of evolving.
I was staring at you like you were crazy for a moment, but that's true. I guess you kind of changed. New me.
I think that if I was a Pokemon, I think a new Pokemon t-shirt would change me.
Okay.
I think that's true.
Okay, sure.
No, so using an item.
Yes.
And some of these, these are very specific. Yeah, they all are.
Well, this is, this is an example of, there's a lot of different Pokemon that start as the same base form, but then evolve into a branching evolution depending on the item that you give it. But this is, I will say, this is specifically using the item on the Pokemon, not giving the Pokemon the item to hold and then doing other things with it.
This is truly just giving it to them.
Basically, this is using it on them, which is different from giving it to them.
Right.
Yeah.
I guess we can start with him. If you give Scyther a black Augrite,
yes,
he becomes
a Cleavor.
And then other ones that are just standalone are Sinistea will evolve into Poltergeist if you give it a cracked pot.
Or a master pot.
Yeah, because if you have a trademarked one.
Yes.
Right? That's what it's called?
Yes.
Then it's a different item.
Yes. So there are two different, there's Sinistea and Poltergeist, which is like it's not a Paldean form of Sinistea.
Those are not the same Pokemon. Those are different Pokemon. One is Matcha.
They're under the same, which is T. Those two Pokemon each of them have a little mark that can be on the Pokemon. You have either a counterfeit form or I forget what it's called, but basically it's a real form where it's an actual, the idea is they're ghost Pokemon that took over a cup, either a cup of matcha or just regular black tea.
Yeah.
And you use a different pot or teacup, which I think they're called masterpiece pots and teacups if they're the real form, but I don't know for sure. But it's the cracked pot for Sinistea or the unremarkable teacup for Poltergeist, and then you use those items to evolve them into their later evolutions. You also have Pokemon like Galarian Slowpoke, who can evolve into either Galarian Slowbro with the Galarica Cuff or Galarian Slowking with the Galarica Wreath. You've got Ursaring, who can become an Ursaluna if you use the Peat block, but it also evolves in Legends Arceus under a full moon. You have Applin, who will evolve into either Flapple, Appletun, or Diplin, depending on if you use a tart apple, a sweet apple, or a syrupy apple. And then you have Cubfu, and this is a little interesting because Cubfu evolves into Urshifu either single strike style or rapid strike style with either the Scroll of Darkness or the Scroll of Waters. But in the Generation 8 DLC where Cubfu was introduced, you had to actually go to a physical location as well because you had to train him under those different styles. And then you also have Duraludon into Archaludon with the metal alloy. And then Charcadet will evolve into either Armarouge or Ceruledge with the auspicious armor or malicious armor.
By the way, the item that we need to use for a marked Sinistea is called a chipped pot. Oh. So there's a chipped pot, which is what you evolve
versus a cracked
marked
pot?
One, an authentic antique one, and then a cracked pot is what you use to evolve the phony one.
I like that they're both broken.
Yeah, well, I feel like I think I take that as like the cracked pot is fully cracked because it's not as good quality, but the chipped one is just chipped because it is still old, but it's like a better quality.
That's true. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense.
Yep. And then, so these are ones that we talked about, like you give the item, or you give the item to them, or you use it on them, or whatever. I like to think that the Applin is eating the apple and becomes whatever.
That's cute.
But sometimes you trade Pokemon that are holding an item. and that will get you a brand new Pokemon. And there's quite a few of those, and this was introduced in Gen 2 as well, because you've got Poliwhirl will have a new evolution, and Slowpoke will have a new evolution, and Onix and Scyther. So we start with those. Poliwhirl and Slowpoke both had evolutions in Gen 1, but in Gen 2, if you give them King's Rock and you trade them, they have new evolutions into Politoed, which I think is really cute, and Slowking, which we've talked about a lot, how smart he is. He can speak, I think, to people, right?
Yes, yeah.
And then one of the funniest and dumbest things I've ever thought in my life was revealed on this show. Onix and Scyther both can hold a metal coat and evolve into Steelix, which Onix and Scyther didn't have evolutions before, so that's just cool.
Yes.
Steelix and Caesar. If you had asked me until last year, I thought when they said they were holding a metal coat, they were holding a jacket.
Yeah,
that
like
was
they were
metal.
putting on a metal jacket.
Yes.
Yeah.
They are not. It's a metal coat of paint or whatever. Yeah, silly goose moment. But those are probably I still think those are some of the coolest ways to evolve this way, those 4 Pokemon, because they were the first ones, and I just think they're neat.
I feel like all of them are the hold item while trading. The trading part doesn't necessarily make sense, but the items that they're given to hold they're all thought out really well, I think.
I have a theory on the trading. It's just a theory. Okay. It's not like a good one. But I agree that it makes more sense if you're trading it, and it's also holding something, like maybe there's something going on when it's held, like where it changes with that item. Yeah. Because it's not holding the item anymore once it's traded, right?
No, it's used.
It. Yeah. Other Pokemon that evolve this way are Rhydon evolves into Rhyperior with the Protector. Seadra evolves into Kingdra with the Dragon Scale. Electabuzz evolves into Electivire with the Electorizer. Magmar evolves into Magmortar with the Magmarizer. Porygon line only evolves this way. So Porygon evolves into Porygon 2 with an upgrade, which I think is hilarious. And Porygon 2 evolves into Porygon Z with a dubious disc.
Which is also hilarious.
Which is funny.
Because it's a messed up Porygon.
It makes me think of the dubious food on Legends of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Yeah. Like something's just gone amiss, and so we get this curvy looking weirdo. Feebas can evolve into Milotic while holding a Prism Scale. We'll talk about a different way that Feebas evolves later. Dusclops evolves into a Dusk Noir while holding a Reaper Cloth. I thought that one was really cool. Clamperl will evolve into either of its evolutions this way, but depending on whatever item it's holding will change which Pokemon it evolves into. So Clamperl can evolve into Huntail, and that is well, it's holding the Deep Sea Tooth. Don't you think it looks really silly?
Well, yeah, but it's yeah.
Or is it Gorbis that looks silly?
No, Gorbis is very cute and pink and
that one's
very
the one I don't
sleek
like.
And slender.
Yeah, I don't like really? Gorbis. Huntail is kind of cool though. He's like an eel.
With
he looks
a
like
big ridiculous
we
tooth.
There's a boat or a house or something inspired by him, right? In one of the cities.
Yeah, you talked about that in our favorite location episodes.
And then Gorbis is the pink thing. I think the pink thing looks really silly.
Okay.
I don't know.
It looks like that. Did you ever have? I think this is a cat toy or a dog toy, but I used to play with it when I was a kid. Did you ever have those balls that would they had a motor in them and they would wiggle and move around toy. On their own?
Yes.
It looks like the thing that's usually attached to those balls.
You're so silly. Yes, it does, which might be why I think it looks silly.
Yeah.
At least Huntail looks interesting. I also just think Clamperl should just not evolve. I think it's good on its own. Should just be left alone.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I think Clamperl's a solid Pokemon. Spritzy, which could be Princess's third Pokemon, evolves into Aromatisse. And Swirlex evolves into Slurpuff.
Yeah.
Spritzy has to hold... I'm sorry, I did not say what they need to hold. Clamperl evolves into Huntail by holding the Deep Sea Tooth, into Gorbis by holding the Deep Sea Scale. Spritzy evolves by holding the Sachet, and Swirlix evolves by holding the Whipped Dream.
The Whipped Dream. Yeah. It makes sense that it evolves, that the item that Spritzy evolves with is called a sachet.
Yeah.
Because it's French.
Yes.
I always read it as sachet.
Yeah, they have a sachet, and then, which I guess it makes sense because it has an aroma. It's like a smell perfume Pokemon.
Yes, yeah.
And then the whipped dream because it's a dessert. It's just a bowl of whatever.
Yeah.
But then you have a lot of Pokemon that evolve when you just trade them. Mm-hmm. This is a Gen 1. This is from the beginning. And my theory, if you're interested in knowing.
Yeah, I am. I was going to ask about when we were talking about the Hell item trades, but yeah.
Yeah. All of these Pokemon evolve, maybe with one exception. It's a little questionable. But 90% of these Pokemon evolve into really strong versions. Like, they really beef up. And so I think maybe being sent away, they're like, oh God, I got to get stronger. I'm in a new I'm in a new place, a new world. I'm with someone I don't know. I have to be tough.
That's an interesting.
It's kind of like the opposite of friendship. It's
yeah.
like, yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting theory.
Yeah. It's also just a game mechanic to encourage you to play with friends.
Mechanic-wise, it was literally just what you just said, to encourage you to play with friends. And to make the games different and sell more copies. But I like that theory that they were like, I don't necessarily like the idea that they were like worried about it and they're like, oh, I got to get better because I wasn't good enough. But just this idea of like, oh, I'm learning new things. I've reached the peak from this trainer. Now I'm learning new things from this trainer. And I'm hitting a new evolution. So yeah, that's cool. I
like to think about the feelings of my imaginary
friends. Well, yeah, when we knew that from friendship levels.
But there's quite a few from Gen 1, but we've got a couple additions since then. But the Pokemon that evolved just via trading are Kadabra into Alakazam, Machoke into Machamp, Graveler into Golem, Alolan Graveler into Alolan Golem, Haunter into Gengar, Boldor into Gigalith, Girder into Conkeldurr, Phantom into Trevenant, and Pumpkaboo into Gorgeist, which is what I was thinking of when I said I don't think all of them are that strong. It's a squash.
That's true.
It just changed its fruit. But yeah, I will say that I wasn't an only child, but I was most of the time because I lived with the parent I lived with. It was just me.
Yes.
I'm their only child, and my siblings lived with my dad. I lived with my mom. So this made it harder for me to complete the Pokedex.
Yeah.
But I did end up doing it. I had all the versions of like the Gen 1 games and the Gen 2 games, or I had 2 versions, and I would help my brother catch Pokemon that I wanted to catch. I'd be like, okay, you need to catch me one of these, and then I would trade with him technically and then trade back. So we did make it work, but it was tough. It's hard out there in the beginning before the internet.
Yeah.
But we did it.
You also had to buy a link cable.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Yeah. I really liked classy move on Nintendo's part, or Game Freak, or whoever decided this, Pokemon Company. I really liked that they included the wireless charger with the Ruby and Sapphire games.
Yeah.
That was really neat of them. I thought it was a cool move. There is also and I did not know this until researching this, so I love learning new things. There's also 2 Pokemon that will only evolve if you trade them for the other Pokemon.
Yeah.
And those Pokemon are Carablast and Shelmet. Mm-hmm. So Carablast will only evolve into Escavalier. Escavalier. If you trade it to Shelmet and Shelmet will only evolve into Acelgor when you trade it for Carablast.
Yeah, the idea there being, and this trade makes a lot of sense, but the idea there being that they take parts from each other to then become their final evolutions, which is really cool thematically.
Yeah. And then, that's really it for trading. There's also, like, it's interesting because, like, when you're trading, you're thinking I'm trading with someone from wherever. Mm-hmm. There's also certain times when you have to go to an area in the game itself versus, like, an area in the real world to trade. And that happens a lot, but it's very game specific.
Yes.
So Pokemon has done a really good job at giving you other methods to get these Pokemon. And we've talked about several of them. We did mention, I don't know why they're not on here, but we did mention like Leafeon and Glaceon originally were Pokemon that had to be trained in a certain area in order for you to get them, you had to train your Eevee in that certain area. Magneton, Nosepass, Charjabug, Crabrawler are also that way.
Yeah.
We've talked about how you can give them stones.
Yes. In
now.
future games.
Yeah.
Gen 8 plus.
Yeah. But before, like Magneton, Nosepass, and Charjabug all had to be leveled up in the magnetic field.
Which is so good. The idea there of like, yeah, you have to magnetize these Pokemon in order to get their electric or steel typing out of them is just so cool.
But you have to evolve them in the magnetic field. Crabrawler, and you have to train at Mount Lanikia in Alola.
Yes, which is the snowy region.
Yeah.
Yep.
To get a Crabominable. Yamask evolves into Confagrigus, but Galarian Yamask evolves into Runerigus. It evolves into a completely different Pokemon.
Yes.
Which you can do near the Dusty Bowl.
Yeah, so the Dusty Bowl is an area in the wild area in Galar. And the idea there is that
the really open area you run around. Okay.
It's one of the, so in the big open area, there's like a lot of little zones. And the idea there is that the Dusty Bowl is an area where there's like this kind of like rune formation. So it gains its runes from the being in that area.
And then we were talking about how Cubfu, you can give it different items to get single strike style Urshifu or rapid strike style Urshifu, but you can also in Galar train your Cubfu at the Tower of Darkness to get the single strike version or the Tower of Water to get the rapid strike version.
Yeah.
Which that was interesting. And then I didn't really have another place to put Sliggoo because it's a weather thing, but Sliggoo you have to level it up in the rain.
Yeah. Sliggoo into Gudra.
Yeah. So I thought that was kind of neat. Like it was weather important. And then we're going to really start to get into some very one-off interesting ways to evolve Pokemon.
Can I talk about the next Pokemon?
Yeah, of course you can.
It involves stats.
Yeah.
So in Generation 2, Tyrogue was introduced, which is the baby form of Hitmonlee and Hitmonchan. But then they also introduced a new evolution for those as Hitmontop. And the way that you level up Tyrogue is by level up, but then it's based off of the stats that Tyrogue has. So if Tyrogue's attack stat is higher than its defense stat, then it will evolve into Hitmonlee. The idea there being that Muay Thai or other like leg-based martial arts are more attack-based. Then if you have a higher defense stat than your attack stat, Tyrogue will evolve into Hitmonchan, which obviously boxing is attack-based, but there's a lot of defensive needs for it. You keep your gloves up in front of like the body parts that you're trying to protect to guard. So you have a higher defense. And then if attack and defense are equal, you get Hitmontop, which requires perfect balance in order to spin and be on its top. Like I think that that's really cool. And it's also cool because Tyrogue, so all of them kind of focus on different themes of martial arts, and Tyrogue is the wrestling Pokemon. Yeah.
What's your favorite Hitmon Pokemon?
Probably Hitmonlee, I think.
I like Hitmonchan.
Yeah.
That's really funny.
Hitmontop is a close second, but I don't like what they did with the 3D animations for Hitmontop, because in Hitmontop, when it was sprite work, it was always on its top spinning. Right. And then on 3D, because it has legs, they make it walk around, and I just don't like the way it looks. And they flip it when he's like attacking or something. Yeah. I've always liked Hitmonchan. I like to teach it like Ice Punch and Thunder Punch and stuff like that, because I just thought that was really cool. Yeah, those are solid Pokemon for sure. I do need to pick your brain on this next one. So sure.
We had talked about Feebas can be leveled up to Milotic by giving it an item, the Prism Scale.
Yes.
But it can also level up, I guess, maybe in certain games with Max Beauty. Is that Max Beauty like when you are doing the competitions?
That is exactly what it is. In Generation 3.
So in Gen 3, that must have been how to evolve it.
Yep, and I think they immediately changed it in Generation 4 4, I believe. It could be wrong. I played Generation 4 with Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, not with Diamond and Pearl.
Yeah,
so
same.
This might not be the case. But in Generation 3, you had competition stats, and you could feed your Pokemon Pokecubes?
Pokeblocks, I think.
Pokeblocks,
Yeah.
yep, to affect its competition stats.
Yeah.
And so the idea there being that if you took Phoebus, this ugly fish, and gave it
tons
maximum
of beauty.
beauty, then it would become Milotic, a very gorgeous dragon-looking
cool.
Pokemon.
I didn't have Milotic in Hoenn. I didn't even know, when I played Ruby the first time, I didn't even know that Feebas evolved.
Yeah.
Yeah. Genuinely didn't.
I
also
never
didn't
captured
complete
Feebas,
that
so.
dex because it's a huge dex.
It is.
It was to me.
It's very big.
But I was 12. So I think we talked about one other one. Oh, it was the Dusk Rockruff that has to have a specific nature. There's one other Pokemon.
Well, the Dusk Rockruff has to have a specific ability, not nature.
Oh, not nature.
Yeah.
Oh, no, never mind then. Well, then there is a Pokemon that does have to have a specific nature in order to evolve into different forms. It's the same Pokemon.
Yes.
It's just different forms of the Pokemon. Toxel, who is adorable, little baby. I named him Chomper after the Land of Before Time, that you get in the Galarian games.
Yes. They introduced in Gen
Sword
8.
and Shield.
Yep.
Can evolve either into amped form Toxtricity or low-key form Toxtricity, which are just various rock and roll forms of the same Pokemon. But in order to evolve into the amped Toxtricity, it has to have one of the following natures: hardy, brave, adamant, naughty, docile, impish, lax, hasty, jolly, naive, rash, sassy, or quirky. It's weird that lax is on the amped one.
Yeah, it is. It should be on low key.
Should be on low key, for sure should be on low key. But those are the natures that it can have to evolve into that form. If you wanted a low key Toxtricity, then you would need a Toxel with one of the following natures: lonely, bold, relaxed, timid, serious, modest, mild, quiet, bashful, calm, gentle, or careful. I want to switch bold with lax, and then it would be perfect.
Yeah, or serious maybe with
Yeah.
lax. But yeah, that's a weird quirk.
No, serious should be low key. I feel like low key people are more serious. Than
Okay,
amped
yeah,
people.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
So bold, yeah.
No, bold and
But
lax need to flip.
They do. Toxel, getting amped form and low-key form, Toxel was the most annoying thing for me in Generation 8. Because I knew they both existed, and unlike Wurmple in Generation 3, where you can pretty easily find Silcoon and Cascoon, I caught so many Toxels trying to get the other form and could not get lucky enough to do it, that I thought it was a version exclusive form.
I thought it was too. But I also feel like I must have gotten lucky because when I evolved my Toxel, he evolved into the amped form, but then there was a GameStop, one of the last ones I've seen, a GameStop
code that you got. Yeah.
And I got the low key form shiny that way.
Yeah. And just so you know, because I did want to call this out for those as well, there are items called mints that will change the nature, quote unquote. Doesn't change the nature. It changes the stat boost changes that you get from the nature. So even if you use a lonely mint on a brave Toxel, it will still evolve into the amped form.
I also think it's interesting. It's just that one. Like, it's interesting. Like, there's not other ones that have to have a certain nature that to evolve. But I think it's still cool.
Yeah.
So our last big one that has like a ton of different Pokemon is one of the ways to evolve Pokemon is once they have learned a specific move, if you keep leveling them up, they'll evolve into X Pokemon. One of the most popular ones is Ancient Power.
Yes.
There's 3 Pokemon that evolve once they learn Ancient Power. Tangela evolves into Tangrowth, Yanma evolves into Yanmega, and Piloswine evolves into Mamoswine. Then the other ones are Lickitung evolves into Licky Licky when it learns Rollout.
Which is really funny because Licky Licky is incredibly rotund.
Mime Jr. and Bonsly both evolve when they learn Mimic into Mr. Mime and Sudowoodo.
Also really funny because Bonsly's learning to mimic a tree.
They both mimic things. Yeah. Oh my gosh. That's
Yeah.
actually really fun. Apom learns Double Hit and evolves into Ambipom.
Gains a whole new set of
Arms.
hands
Yep.
on its tail.
Girafarig evolves into Farigiraf when it learns Twin Beam, which is cool because it's got 2 heads.
Two heads become one.
Dunsparce evolves into Dunsparce when it learns Hyperdrill.
This one I don't get. Why Hyperdrill?
It's got a bigger butt drill?
I guess, maybe.
I don't know.
It's so weird one.
And this one, too, there's a 2-segment and a 3-segment the Dunsparce. Steenie evolves into Serena once it learns Stomp.
Yep, which it gains these big
feet,
old boots.
Right?
Yep.
Poipole evolves into Naganadel. I have no idea what that is, but once it learns Dragon Pulse, it does that.
Poipole and Naganadel or Naganadel from Generation 7, or they are from Alola. Yeah.
Really
and
should
specifically
play those games.
specifically Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, I believe.
Yeah. Okay. Dipplin, who we just learned evolves specifically by Applin being given a certain item. It evolves into Hydrapple as well. So there's a 3rd Applin evolution just for the Dipplin line.
Yep.
It evolves into Hydrapple once it learns Dragon Cheer, which I thought was adorable.
Yeah, and it's also kind of funny because Dipplin is an apple with 2 dragons in it, and then Hydrapple gets 5, so its friends come to cheer it on.
Oh, cute.
Yeah.
Okay. You really thought of all these.
Yeah.
And then, or they have, and you just picked up on it. I didn't. And then Clobopus evolves into Grapplocked when it learns Taunt, which makes sense because it's an angry.
Yes.
It's an angry turtle.
It goes from being
Angry
kind of like
octopus.
a kid octopus fighting to like a real wrestling thing.
Yeah, which I like both of those Pokemon. I think they're neat.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are the Pokemon once they've learned to move. And then you can also have Pokemon that evolve with specific party requirements.
Yeah.
Which is a little bit broad, but that's because there were a lot of weird ones with this. We had talked about last episode, I think. We had talked about one of these with the Pokeball episode, so I'll start with that one, which is Nincada. In order to get Ninjask and Shedinja,
yes,
you have to level it up and evolve it with an empty spot in your party and a Pokeball in your bag.
Yes.
So once it hits level 20, once it's level 19, you need to prepare. You need to make sure you got a Pokeball and an empty spot in your party. And then because once it hits 20, if it evolves into Ninjask, you'll get a Shedinja if you have those requirements.
Shedinja being the shed husk of Ninjask.
Yes, which is no point except for Pokedex completion, I believe.
No, it's a great Pokemon.
Oh, is it?
It has 1 HP, which would make you think it sucks, but its ability is that it will not take damage unless hit by a super effective move, which it is a bug type, so there's a lot of super effective moves.
He's rolling his eyes actively when he says that.
But if you catch a trainer that doesn't have a super effective move, you lock them out completely.
Oh.
They cannot hurt Shedinja.
That is cool. I really didn't know that. I knew about...
It's the Wonder Guard ability, I think.
I knew about Shedinja, but I really thought it was just a throwaway. In addition to that, though, Mantike, which I think this is kind of cute.
It's very cute.
Mantike will not evolve into a Mantine if you don't have a Remoraid in your party. Mm-hmm. And the reason is because they have that... I don't want to say parasite relationship, but codependent relationship in their ecosystem, where the Mantine shelter the Remoraid, and the Remoraid, I think, help them get like the food that they need.
It's a symbiotic relationship.
Yeah, symbiotic, not parasitic.
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. If you look at official art for Mantine, they always have 2 little Remoraid
with them.
By them.
Yeah. Kind of reminds me of Dragonpult, but it's not the same because it's not little baby dragons. It's a different Pokemon, but they coexist.
Yes.
So you cannot get a Mantine without a Remoraid. And then Pancham, I thought this was interesting. I did not know this. Pancham will only evolve to Pangora at level 32 and up if you have a dark type Pokemon in your party.
Which it's a weaker specification than the other 2, but the idea there being that Pancham is a fighting type Pokemon that learns to be dark from another
whatever
dark type
Pokemon corrupted them.
Yes, and then
you've got in
becomes
your party.
Pangoro. Yeah.
I thought that was cool. So really, really, really getting specific now.
Yes. These are the weirdest of the weird evolutions.
Weird ones. There are a couple Pokemon where you have to use a certain move a certain amount of times.
Or a certain way.
In order to get it to evolve.
Yes.
And those Pokemon are Stantler. We'll start with Stantler. So Stantler, you have to use Psy-Shield in Agile style, which is specific to Legends,
yes.
the Legends Arceus game. You have to use Psy-Shield 20 times in Agile style in order for it to evolve into a Weirdeer.
Yep.
And the same thing with Hisuian and Quillfish. Hisuian and Quillfish, you have to use 20 uses of Barb Barrage in the strong style in order to evolve into Overquill, which is a Hisuian specific Pokemon.
Yes, yeah.
Primeape, it is not part of the style moves because it's not Hisuian.
No, yes.
But Primeape, if you use Rage Fist 20 times, it will evolve into Annihilate, which I really Annihilate has grown on me.
So can I just say,
yes,
they missed a golden opportunity here.
Oh, okay.
Because Primeape is a fighting type Pokemon, Annihilate is a ghost and fighting type Pokemon.
Yeah, okay.
It should have been that you use Rage Fist 20 times, which Rage Fist deals more damage the more it's used, or the more you get hit, I think, in game. But the idea should have been that you use it 20 times and then faint.
Yeah.
And the idea there being that he got so mad that he then fainted in battle and becomes Annihilate.
Yeah. That would be cool. Yeah. I like that. I really when I saw Annihilate at first, I was like, I don't like that. What is that? But it's really grown on me.
A lot of the Scarlet and Violet evolutions to previous Pokemon have grown on you, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah. Partially because I had to do that.
Work so hard for them.
Pokedex thing, yeah.
Yep.
Speaking of working hard for Pokemon, because this is in my party right now because I'm not getting rid of it because of how long it took. But Bisharp. Bisharp is a cool Pokemon.
Yeah.
It's like an armor Pokemon.
It's an armored chess piece, the Bishop.
In order for it to evolve into a Kingambit, which is an even cooler Pokemon, a samurai Pokemon, you have to defeat 3 Bisharps, but not just any 3 Bisharps. What kind of Bisharps, you may ask? They have to hold a leader's crest. What does that mean, you may ask? Well, it means that you have to run around in the Paldean region looking for a Bisharp that is surrounded by other little tiny poniards in order to understand that it's probably holding a leader's crest. And then you have to make it faint. And then you have to hope it was. And then you have to do it 2 more times.
Yeah.
Quite a lot of work. It doesn't sound like a lot. It's only 3. Thank goodness it's only 3. But it took me a long time.
You end up fainting like 12 of them in order to find it. Because it's only got a 5% chance
I made
to
it
be
learn
holding it.
Brick Break, and I went for it, and it worked out well.
Yep.
But yeah, it is quite the undertaking.
Yep.
Speaking of undertakings, you just talked about this.
Yeah.
Inkay evolves into Malamar.
Yeah.
And the way that it does that is if you hold it upside down once it hits level 30.
If you hold the console upside
down. The whole console.
Down.
Yeah, so you've got your 3DS, right? You're playing your X or Y game or your Switch. Oh, it works on the Switch? Stop it. It knows it's upside down.
Yeah.
What a time to be alive. You hold your console, your Switch or your 3DS upside down, and your cute baby little Inkay, it becomes a evil mastermind serial killing
Malamar. Yeah.
Correct. That is wild to me. It's cool. It's just very wild.
Yes. Yeah.
It was wild when you told me about it last time.
I will end up reading this comment in listener feedback in a later episode.
Yeah.
But shout out to the listener who left it. You know who you are. I'll say your name in another episode when we officially read your comment. But they pointed out that Malamar, who is one of my favorite psychic type Pokemon, is basically just the psychic victory bell.
Thank you so much for that feedback. Yeah, it's...
And I was like, yes, it is.
It has not grown on me for some reason. And that could be why. No, it's a cool way to evolve a Pokemon, though.
It's a very unique way.
The most annoying Pokemon ever. Let's talk about it, because I don't have one. I don't know if you have one.
I do have one, but only because I got it gifted to me through Pokemon Home. for certain things that you do on there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if you want to go old school,
Yeah.
if you have a Melton and you want it to be a Melmetal, you have to acquire only in Pokemon Go. This is only a Pokemon Go exclusive
Evolution.
Right?
Yeah,
Evolution.
you cannot evolve it anywhere else.
You have to get 400 Melton candies. Galutrad.
Yes.
How many Meltons is that?
Well, you get, I don't know the exact
2 or
number,
3?
but you get like anywhere from 2 to 7, depending on if you use a pineapple berry when you're catching. But here's the more annoying part. That would have been really easy when they introduced Melton and Melmetal and they had outbreaks constantly where you could just find them everywhere.
Yep.
I don't think you can even find it anymore.
Great.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Wow. This one is also kind of strange, and I'm not sure I understand what it's saying. So will you handle the next one?
So Milcery evolves into alchemy. Specifically, there are a number of different items that you can give it to hold. And then what you do once it is holding an item is you take your character, you put the Milcery holding this item, they're like different fruits. And depending on if you spin your joystick really fast in a direction, left or counterclockwise or clockwise.
Oh, yeah.
And depending on the time of day and depending on how long you spin your character for, you will evolve it into a different color and different version alchemy. So you can get vanilla cream alchemy by spinning clockwise for less than 5 seconds during the day. Ruby cream by spinning counterclockwise for less than 5 seconds during the day. Matcha cream by spinning clockwise for less than 5 seconds at night. Mint cream by spinning counterclockwise for more than 5 seconds at night. Lemon cream by spinning clockwise for more than 5 seconds at night. Salted cream by spinning counterclockwise for less than 5 seconds at night. Ruby swirl for spinning counterclockwise for more than 5 seconds during the day. Caramel swirl by spinning clockwise for more than 5 seconds during the day. And rainbow swirl by spinning in either direction for more than 10 seconds during the evening. And all of those different forms can change into a different fruit version depending on which item that you give it to hold. It'll have different fruit on top of its head.
So you can basically have a Baskin Robbins.
You can basically have a Baskin. You can have more. There are more, which this is true for several Pokemon actually, but there are more alchemy than you can have on your party.
Like Vivillon. Is that
Like
you're thinking country specific
Vivillon
or is it Vivillon?
I've always said Vivillon. It might be Vivillon or Florges because of the different flower colors and stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's nuts. Just look it up.
Yeah,
because it's so confusing.
Yeah,
and I'm not one to normally look it up, but you're gonna have a real tough time figuring that all out by yourself.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's a lot. I remember now that you said it. I remember like having to spin your character because I think when you spin it, it kind of
it does like an animation now. Yeah.
So that is really fun, but also crazy.
Yeah. The idea is cute because you're taking cream and you're spinning it and it's becoming whipped cream and ice cream. Yeah. Totally. So like it makes sense. It's just weird.
Yeah, it is pretty strange. Farfetch'd can evolve into Surfetch'd, which was a brand new evolution for that. That was a standalone Pokemon for a long time, and when we got to the Galar region.
Yep.
It was an exclusive for Sword, and you could get a Surfetch'd by achieving 3 critical hits, but you had to do it in one battle. We mentioned Basculin earlier, having the different forms depending on which gender Basculin you have, to Basculegion, but in order to evolve it at all, no matter which gender you have, it still has to receive 294 recoil damage, which is pretty easy to do because it's a tough Pokemon, so it always has like takedown or something like it to
it's just time consuming.
Yeah. But I did want to mention that is also a very specific way to evolve that Pokemon. Mm-hmm. And then there's a couple Pokemon that you have to walk them 1,000 steps in Let's Go mode. And those 3 Pokemon are Rellor, which evolves into Rabsca, Pawmaw, which evolves into Pawmot, and Bramblin, which evolves into Bramblegast.
Yeah, Rellor and Bramblin makes sense because Rellor is the dung beetle Pokemon and it's rolling around.
It's got to roll it. Yeah.
Bramblin is a bramble, a tumbleweed,
yeah.
So it has to roll around. Pokemon. Why on Arceus's green earth did you make Palmo evolve into Palmot through this mechanic?
It looks like a hamster, maybe. Yeah, I think that's interesting. 1,000 steps also is pretty easily achievable. It's just a lot.
Yeah, I literally just put them out in a town and then held my controller so that I'd run in a circle and just waited. I watched a YouTube video or something. Yeah. So it's easy to do. It's just a weird one.
Oh yeah.
I love this next one.
I did not know this. This is interesting to me. So apparently, I learned this when I was researching. There's one Pokemon that you can only evolve by leveling up while you're in multiplayer.
Yes.
And that Pokemon is Fenizen.
Yep.
And it evolves into Palafin, this is the dolphin Pokemon.
Yes. Yeah.
So why?
Okay. So Fenizen is a dolphin.
Okay.
Palafin is also a dolphin. And also a superhero. Palafin has a special ability that is unique to Palafin called Zero to Hero. And the idea here is that you have to take your Fenizen, who is just a mild-mannered dolphin, and it has to be around people and get stronger. The kind of like comic booky-esque is that it transfers, this whole line is great. The evolution method transfers into then the abilities mechanic where you have to level up Fenizen in front of people because it has to prove itself to other people. It has to prove itself in front of a crowd. But then Palafin, its Zero to Hero ability, you send it out as a regular Palafin, and it literally is the exact same model as Fenizen, except for it has a heart emblem on its chest.
Okay.
And then what you have to do with Palafin is recall it back to your party so that it can change into its superhero outfit and then send it back out. And it becomes hero form Palafin, which is adorable and so cute. It's so, and they did Pokemon Horizons did an episode all about Palafin and how people were trying to see it transform into the great hero of the sea, Palafin, and it kept hiding from it. It would go away to transform. It's so cute.
That's so funny.
I love it. It's adorable.
Wow. So I'm a little confused why a dolphin Pokemon.
I don't know, but it's fine.
There has to be a reason, like a myth or something they took it from. I don't know. Because I was thinking maybe because dolphins are they travel in groups. And they're very friendly. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I read that and I was like, what?
Yeah.
What? And then this one is a tough one. And I think you've done it.
Well,
right?
this one is a tough one to do purposefully through naturally playing the game. If you can end up getting it done.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
Well, in Scarlet and Violet, there's a Pokemon called Gimmighoul. Mm-hmm. Looks like a treasure chest. Yeah. And it does evolve. It evolves into a Goldango, but only after you've collected 999 of its coins in roaming.
Yeah.
form.
So there is technically Gimmighoul is a 3-stage evolution. There's roaming form Gimmighoul, which is just like this little alien coin boy. Yeah. And then there's treasure chest form Gimmighoul, which is that little coin boy in a chest full of gold. Mm-hmm. And then there is Goldango, which is a bunch of gold stacked together to look like a cheese man. Mm-hmm. So the idea there being that you collect enough treasure to let your treasure chest evolve.
Yeah.
Like I said, naturally through playing Scarlet and Violet, you'll run across these roaming form Gimmighouls that if you interact with them, you'll get anywhere from 1 to 10 coins. Mm-hmm. And so as you do that, and they make noise too. You hear this when you're near them. And so as long as you're interacting with them as you're playing the game, by the time you get to the end game, you've got almost 700, 800 of them, maybe more, depending on how much you interacted with these random Gimmighoul roaming forms all over the place. It's pretty easy to do once. After you do that, if you decide you want another Goldango,
it's tough.
It's time consuming to go get more.
Yeah.
You can go battle the treasure form gimmigles to get, I think, like 20 coins per battle. But even then,
still 20 times whatever. Yeah, it's 999. Yeah.
So that's a big one.
Yeah.
And then finally,
please tell us about this one.
Another one of my like favorite evolutions that they introduced in Scarlet and Violet is Mousehold. And Mousehold, who evolves from Tandemouse. So Tandemouse is the mouse Pokemon. There's 2 of them. They're in tandem. They're always together. Once it hits level 25, it will level up into Mousehold.
Either a
family of 4 or a family of 3, which is just chance based. You have a 1 in 100 chance to get a different.
Like the Dunsparce.
Yes. Yeah. But specifically, Mousehold evolves if it is in your party and it levels up while you do in Scarlet and Violet, you have the send out animation game thing that you can send your Pokemon to go like quick battle, and it just knocks out the other Pokemon or loses if it can't beat it. And you gain experience for your whole party doing that. And so if Tandemouse evolves or levels up past level 25 while you're doing that, the idea is that just a new mouse baby shows up or another mouse shows up, and then now you have the Mousehold instead of the Tandemouse, and it doesn't even play an animation.
Yeah,
it just
you said it's
happens.
sneaky evolves.
Yeah, it literally just, you will have a Tandemouse, and then you'll check your party, and suddenly you have a Mousehold.
So do you have to send Tandemouse out, or Tandemouse just has to be in your party?
Specifically, Tandemouse has to just be in your party. It's not part of the battle.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
And it just skips the you don't. It does. Again, it's sneaky. You do not see it. It does not broadcast it at all.
Yeah. Okay. That's it. I knew you were excited about that one, so I wanted to close off with that one. But yeah, it is really wild. Like before, it was literally like in Gen 1. I guess it would just be leveling up stones and
trading.
It is crazy how much evolving has evolved.
Yeah.
I really did learn a lot from researching this, because we have touched all of the generations of Pokemon, but I have not fully beaten, definitely not fully completed the Pokedexes for those, except for like 2. So I think it's really cool to like take a moment and reflect on like all of these different ways to get Pokemon. I think it's neat. Well, thank you so much for tuning in to the evolution episode. If you feel like we missed something, because we might have missed a Pokemon, there was like a section that was pretty large that I was like, I'm not naming every single one of these. But if you feel like we missed something, or you feel like you have like a favorite evolution type or evolution method that you want to share with us, you can reach out anywhere on the internet at Another PKMN Pod, or you can come over to our website at anotherpokemonpodcast.com and also leave us feedback there. You can also leave us feedback in your 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts, Google, Spotify, anywhere you're listening to the sound of our voices. But if you are Team Sunkern and you want to give a shout out to Galutrad, where can they find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Blue Sky at galutrad.com.
And if you are Team Blossom, which is the correct choice, you can find me anywhere on the internet at Rebellity, or I_am_rebellity on Instagram. And yeah, we really appreciate you tuning in. Really appreciate the feedback. Would love to know how you feel about the evolution of Pokemon and the different changes, or if there's an evolution method that we haven't seen yet. Maybe there's an idea that you have that you'd like to share. Would love to hear from you all. And until next time, have a fantastic, wonderful, ever-evolving night. And get out.
Get out. I'm cutting that.